how to deal with unconscious people, how to deal with toxic people, how to deal with bad friends, bad influences, people who you feel like you shouldn't be trusting, who claim they are your friends, but you don't feel like they have good intentions for you, business partners who don't pay you on time, whatever it may be. What do you do about that? How do you deal with these people when you're forced to be with them, when you are forced to deal with them? Maybe they're your family members and you have to see them on Christmas or something. What do you do about it when it happens? And the number one thing to realize is you're not forced to be around anyone you don't like. You are not obligated to any person in this world. So let me just take that guilt off you and just remind you that it's okay for you to not pick up your phone when someone who you don't like to interact with is calling you or texting you. It's okay to just ignore people. Number two is that if you are being with these people, you need to learn about the frame technique. You need to learn what that is. If you don't know, everyone has a frame about them when they are interacting with the world. The frame comes from their confidence level, it comes from how they see themselves, it comes from their identity, and it comes to their level of consciousness. It comes from their whole inner reality. That is their frame that is then becoming imposed on the world. So a very, very basic example is the police officer, right? The police officer who pulls you over and asks for your license and registration, they are in the frame of authority, right? In their inner reality, they are the boss, right? They are the authority that can just ask people to do things. The way they carry themselves, the way they stand, the way they talk, all of it is in alignment with that inner reality. And that frame becomes imposed on the person that they're talking down to, right? Give me your license and registration. The person is looking up, being kind of submissive because they are in the lower frame. They are now in the submissive frame of simply, abiding by the words of this police officer, because in their world, in their inner reality, they have to submit to that higher authority. And this whole interaction is what we would call a frame, right? So now if you were to now break that frame, right, you would just come in and say, you know what, I don't care about your authority. I'm just going to completely ignore you. There's going to be maybe a lot of tension, a lot of conflict, a lot of resistance, because the two frames are now fighting and seeing which one is going to be stronger. And in a situation like that, where it's the police officer and someone who's being pulled over, resisting that frame or fighting it is probably going to end up in someone dying, right? But in normal interactions, when you're interacting with your friends, business people, whatever it is, this whole tension, it only lasts a couple of seconds before the stronger frame just conquers and just overtakes the whole interaction. Now, when someone is toxic, when someone is unconscious, they have a very, very strong frame about them. You are not always going to be able to defeat that frame, but what you are always going to be able to do is to not succumb to their frame. Meaning that in their worldview, they see everyone as succumbing to their frame, right? So someone who's unconscious, they have this view that everyone is just listening to them and everyone loves to hear what they have to say, and they are just the shit, right? They're just so entertaining to listen to. It's just so amazing to be in their presence. Now, when you're not succumbing to that, when you're just simply allowing them to have that frame, to allowing them to be that actor in that role, and you're not engaging in it, you notice how you take your own power back. And their unconsciousness, all that toxicity no longer affects you. It only starts affecting you once you succumb to the frame or you try to resist it. By simply allowing them to be, they start maybe getting a little bit upset, they might get a little bit triggered, they might try a couple of tricks to get your attention, but it's not gonna work, right? And it's going to fade away very, very quick if you just let them have their moment, right? If you just let them be in that frame without succumbing to it, right? In fact, this might even help them in their own awakening. This is something that can actually work in their benefit for them to find themselves, because as you remove your attention, your energy from their frame, the frame loses its power. The only reason why frames exist in unconscious people is because they are being kept alive by other people. Other people are entertaining their frames. Other people are reaffirming this delusional worldview that they carry around them. If people stop doing them, the frames and the neurosis and this borderline psychotic episode that so many people are going through would just go away. All it takes is just removing the energy and the attention from it. You can do that by simply becoming present. When you notice someone who is being unconscious, someone who is not listening, someone who is not being present, rather than like saying, hey, you need to listen to me, or trying to resist it, just simply become more intensely alive yourself. Return into your body, feel the body, and completely ignore everything they say. They might even say things like, are you even listening to me? Ignore it. Ignore it, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Don't listen to it. Just be in your own body and just be aware and just let your focus flow freely, as within, as without. Just completely be one with all the elements of this universe. They will just ask you things like, okay, that's weird, you're not listening. And then they just keep on talking sometimes. It's super weird and it's super entertaining, but just let them have their moment, let them talk. Eventually, they will say something that is gonna make you question whether or not they have now become a little bit conscious. They will have this moment when they now become genuinely curious in you. And you will be very surprised. You will be like, wow, that's interesting. That's very unexpected. I feel like this is them sort of turning around and changing. And I want to now give them that. And I now want to treat them as an equal in a way, as someone who is on the same wavelength, or someone who is a reliable friend. And I actually want to answer their question. And the moment you do, you have to continue staying present, because if you lose your guard in that moment, and you get that genuine curiosity from them, and then you answer the question, what tends to happen is they see that as a submission from your side. They see that as a submission into their frame. Now, and then they just start rambling again, right? So they will ask this question about something that is related to you, right? They will pretend like they are really engaged, really listening to you for a couple of seconds. And just when you answer, just when you show that little vulnerability, that's when they just return to their own unconsciousness. They just return to rambling forever once again. So don't put your guard down so quick. Remember the saying, when it comes to getting friends into your life, allowing friends into your life, be extremely slow. Take it extremely slow to do that. And then when it comes to letting people go, be very abrupt, very quick. Do it in an instant. But letting people in has to be an extremely slow process. So you can't put your guard down. You can't just show vulnerability if someone who has been unconscious for a couple of hours now suddenly shows genuine interest. If someone does that and they are like, after talking for 3 hours nonstop about themselves, now they're like, So how are you, by the way? Right? And that sounds very real, right? That sounds like they have actually, come to their senses, but it's really just fake. It's fake, and it's just something they're pretending because they have just tried everything in their toolbox and none of it worked, right? You didn't fall into their frame by all the regular tactics. So now they tried this consciousness stuff that they know you like. Now, instead of just going, thanks for asking, and allowing spaciousness and presence and really being there until they just keep on rambling again. Instead of doing that, let that question sit for a while as well. Just like all the other questions. Even if it feels genuine, just let it sit. Because if they can't be quiet for 20 seconds, you know that they're still operating within their frame. They're still being unconscious, and they're still not someone that you want to deal with or be exposed to. Unless you are fully enlightened, you should stay away from these people because they are hindering your own growth and they are holding you back. And as long as you associate with these people, you are going to be these people. So that's how you deal with unconscious people. And remember to meditate. This is going to embody you in your body more and more. And you're going to remember your meditation practice when you interact with the world. You have to remember, again, number one, you are not obligated to answer anyone's phone, messages, and also when they are speaking to you right in front of you. It doesn't matter if it's on the phone or if they're right in front of you. You are not obligated to answer anyone. This might sound harsh, but that is the reality of it. Okay, you don't owe anyone anything. Thanks for watching. Until next time.